The final word. You may have noticed around federal buildings this year the inclusion on the flagstaffs of diversity flags. These flags represent, by the Biden administration, tolerance, inclusion, and diversity, or at least the new definitions of those words in 2022. It might be that the Biden administration is hoping people have the memory of goldfish and that they don't remember how they ordered U.S. embassies across the world to fly diversity flags and Black Lives Matter flags at various U.S. installations, including in Kabul. This was what greeted the Taliban as they took over Afghanistan and deprived all LGBTQ people in Afghanistan of every one of their civil rights. Team Biden is hoping that you forget what happened last year, where they abandoned an entire country to having their rights stripped from them en masse. As the Democratic Party desperately tries to get voters to focus on January 6, 2021, I would point out that everything about the Biden administration and the Democratic Party is about optics and spin over reality. So the messaging is that 50 to 100 people who strolled around the Senate building were acting on the direct orders of Donald Trump, who, during his Save America rally speech, called for peaceful protest by the estimated 100,000 to 250,000 attendees of his Save America rally. It's basic math, folks. 50 to 100 people entered the Senate building 20 minutes before Donald Trump finished speaking about peaceful protest. Those people entered the Senate building while Donald Trump, their supposed cult leader, had 20 more minutes to go in his speech. Those people did not show up to hear his speech. These people showed up to hear Donald Trump's speech. And if 250,000 attendees of the January 6, 2021 Save America rally, if these people had actually stormed the Capitol, there would be no January 6 hearings taking place this week or for the rest of the year as the Democrats desperately try to get you to show up and vote Democrat. And more important to the Biden administration than reality, you have the imagery of American Border Patrol agents on horseback securing the border. And the optics of this suggested a means of Joe Biden and his administration to attack their own employees, to attack federal employees for being racist. And so someone brought Joe Biden a summary and said, "Mr. Biden, read this summary." And so Biden said of these Border Patrol agents, "I promise you those people will pay." Biden said of the agents during a White House press conference on Friday morning, "There will be consequences. It's dangerous. It's wrong. It sends the wrong message around the world. It sends the wrong message at home. It's simply not who we are." White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki has repeatedly called the images and footage horrific and horrible. The Department of Homeland Security announced that they would open an investigation into the agents' actions. So here we are in June, and border agents, I know, I do a bowel movement too, looking at the policies of the Biden administration, baby. Border agents demoralized after political probe into claims of whipping Haitians. Border Patrol agents to be disciplined for horseback whipping incident. Yeah, more BS from the Biden administration, baby. The Border Patrol is preparing to discipline agents whom Biden administration officials accused of whipping Haitian migrants while on horseback in Del Rio, Texas last September, the Washington Examiner has learned. Now, it would be a mistake to simply look at the original September news story and the June follow-up from this year and just stop there. What's really disturbing here is that President Biden was handed a summary of Border Patrol agents supposedly whipping Haitian immigrants. And he said they will pay. But Joe Biden did not personally research this topic, did not personally research the facts, or attempt to discover what happened. That's too hard for him. He's been having summaries written for him by his staff since probably the first week that he took office as Barack Obama's vice president back in 2008. Joe Biden approaches every single topic, every single issue, from the same perspective as he does this whipping story of the Border Patrol agents. Biden has someone prepare him a summary, and he doesn't think about it beyond that summary. That summary is his reality. And it's frightening to me because this is Joe Biden's attitude towards Vladimir Putin, the Ukraine invasion, COVID, the Wuhan lab, inflation, alternative energies and the Green New Deal, securing our border, and teaching diversity to our nation's school children. It doesn't matter what the topic is. Biden thinks of it and handles it in the exact same way that he's doing this whipping story. Something that didn't exist, that didn't happen, but it's real in Joe Biden's mind. So looking at these three stories, the diversity flags flown at federal buildings, the ongoing January 6 hearings by a desperate Democratic Party, and the whipping of Border Patrol agents, we have a leader in the White House in the form of Joe Biden who believes that saying the right things is more important than doing the right things. And this is reflected in every aspect of the Biden administration policy. Let's ask Major Kira of Deep Space Nine what she thinks about leaders who say one thing but behave in another manner.
My father says Garrick's dead. Right now, I wouldn't believe your father if he said rain was wet.
I used to think my father was a hero. But even when he did something bad, he had a good reason.
Everyone has their reasons. That's what's so frightening. People can find a way to justify any action, no matter how evil.
You think my father's evil?
I think you can't judge people by what they think or say, only by what they do.
So everything about the Biden administration is about lip service, spin, and presenting the best optics, regardless of inaction or the Biden administration actively making things worse for the American people and worse for the rest of the world. I want you to think back to just a short time ago when we had a president who could actively frame questions, who could formulate ideas, and could actually think through topics without a summary being written for him. That would be the former president, Donald Trump. And let me just run through a brief litany off the top of my head of things Donald Trump was right about. Trump was right about the border wall, the border crisis, and the border drug crisis, including fentanyl. Trump was right about paying Europeans for NATO when they contribute little. Trump was right about Europe making themselves captive to Russia, buying their energy, while locking American energy companies out of the bidding. Trump was right that the Democratic Party has failed African Americans at every level and in every city. Trump was right that North Korea could be talked out of commencing a deadly war. Trump was right that Islamic State could be defeated with a new commander-in-chief. Trump was right that not holding the Taliban to their signed agreements would be a disaster for Afghanistan's women and children. Trump was right that we could work with Russia on terrorism and oppose Russia on everything else. Watch Trump's speeches. Trump was right that economic and military aid to Ukraine was right, yet pushing Ukraine to join NATO was wrong. Trump was right that the Green New Deal and Biden's promise to cancel the petroleum industry would destroy our economy. Trump was right that South Korea, Japan, and Germany should pay more to host our bases in their countries. Trump was right that bringing American factories back was the key to ending America's economic woes. Trump was right that keeping immigrant applicants in Mexico would reduce the flow of illegals across our southern border. Trump was right that starting the Keystone Pipeline was the right economic direction for our country. Trump was right that the Paris Climate Accord taxes Americans while giving full carbon waivers to India and China. Trump was right that the Wuhan Laboratory and the Chinese Communist Party should be held accountable for COVID-19. Trump was right that Operation Warp Speed would start getting vaccinations delivered to patients, including liar Joe Biden, before 2020 was up. Trump was right that travel bans were not racist and xenophobic, although Biden's travel bans might be. Trump was right that every American has value and that we are all Americans who should be proud of America. And Trump was right that the Democratic Party would do everything in their power to divide every American against another based on group, creed, race, gender, ethnicity, and sexual preference. Thank you, and God bless. The Vladimir Zelensky quote, God chooses what we can endure.